Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another scene set in the Chronicles of Darkness, Vampire the Requiem. Requiem for London. Tonight, we focus in on the Requiem of Dr. Isabella Marrow. Currently within the largest chapter house of Violdo, south of the river, not too far from the Shard. And she is currently having a one-on-one, a heart-to-heart, if you will, with her newest child to be, Mr. Damien Jefferson. You're currently in an examination room with him. It's set up largely like a doctor's office, but slightly larger with more equipment. Several drawers of surgical equipment are next to your desk, including various medical machinery, some of which is has been sort of jury-rigged to accommodate the needs of Kindred or to accommodate whatever experiments he ordered to call have planned on this night. And it includes a dialysis machine.
Interesting.
That is basically rigged up to a surgery table, which has got large steel cups on the edges, used to restrain various volunteers, if we're being charitable. But yeah, he is just kind of sitting on a chair next to you. He looks rather nervously over at the table, sort of rocking back and forth in his chair.
All right, Damien, I'm going to need you to focus.
Yeah. I can try. Sorry. It's difficult to stay focused in my state, but I'll try. He always does have that sort of scattered look in his eyes, a sort of his predatory aura just sort of simmering.
Mm-hmm.
Never really stopped.
Yeah, if this is so if this is the next day where I know that he's going to need to feed, I would have brought blood with me to give to him.
Would you have brought a member of your herd?
Can I just have like a bag of blood?
The problem with bagged blood is that it's not very nutritious for Kindred. For them to gain sustenance from it, they need to drink quite a lot. Several liters, actually. It's dependent on their blood potency, so it's not the worst situation. He's not very potent with the blood, being a revenant, but it is much more blood than one would expect. It's not just like a simple bag of blood you could take from a blood bank. It would be at least several, just to get a single blood point.
And just as a just kind of a common sense question, if I allow him to feed on me, would I be able to stop him essentially?
That depends on how strong he is. You've never really tested what sort of powers he possesses.
Mm-hmm.
If he possesses vigor, it may be very difficult to stop him. He would be bound a single step to you, however,
Right.
which would help, but at the same time, viate addiction, as you've come to understand quite viscerally, is a serious risk.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, well, I mean that's going to be a thing eventually anyway. All right. Okay, I'll bring enough blood for 1 blood point worth for him.
Have you been satiating your condition, by the way?
Me? What would I have to do in order to do that? Just feed on?
You would need kindred blood.
Probably not. If I can avoid it.
Pangs are quite strong, man. You are not hungry, but at the same time, your beast wants richer, thicker blood that you are not giving it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, would Bridget would that have satisfied it? Because you said her blood was weird. Would that have satisfied the viate addiction?
It has. The pangs are coming back, but she has satiated your beast somewhat. It's as you said, it is quite strange. Her viate. It tastes like kindred, but you know it isn't. And if you hadn't had fed from her, you definitely know that these pangs would be much worse, and you probably would not be speaking with Damien right now.
Gotcha. All right, cool. So that's good. Another reason to keep her around.
Wow. She'll appreciate that.
Listen. All right. So I'll hand him. So I assume I'll have several bags of blood, which I don't think would be terribly hard to get a hold of.
Roll me.
Because doctor.
You are a doctor. Roll me your. You wish to procure medicine, so yeah, you would need. You could procure it. It would just be roll me your manipulation plus your medicine.
Okay. You
can actually procure equipment through relevant dice rolls.
Nice.
And you're a veterinarian.
Does my specialty in science or veterinarian work on this?
Yeah, veterinarian would apply, or at least it would apply for attempting to procure animal blood. Attempting to procure human blood, it would not apply, and it would probably increase the difficulty of the role somewhat because you're a veterinarian and, well, do you treat people? Is that your job?
I mean, I can. I just don't generally. I mostly just that. But I also have the zoo. I have contacts at the zoo, so I assume I would be able to get it from there.
Okay, roll me to procure animal blood. If you wish to procure human blood, you'll be incurring a dice penalty because it is not your actual profession. While you're qualified, you don't work in this. You don't really actively work in this spheres that would allow you to procure it. You don't necessarily work in a hospital, for example.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I assume animal blood will work because that only doesn't work if you're old, right?
Yes, animal blood is sustainable for thin-blooded kindred such as yourself and for revenants.
Yeah, if I have a specialty in it, how does that work for rolling?
Right, for your specialty, you gain 1 extra dice.
Okay. Cool. So I'm rolling 7.
And
sweet.
Yeah, you're just trying to take
5
blood
successes.
from. Okay, so you get you get an exceptional success. So you have all the blood you need to keep him satiated for the next week. You have arranged for it. You have ensured that the animals will not be too distinctly harmed by this. You know they'll still be able. Most of them will still be able to work. You have arranged this so that you can rotate through the animals without bringing them too much harm, while at the same time satiating your revenant.
All right, so I'm gonna have them kind of like a briefcase type thing. I'm gonna bring some of them in, and then I'm just gonna keep some like kind of in, I assume, some sort of freezer or refrigerator on the premises.
Such equipment does exist at the multiple chapter houses. You would have no problem obtaining obtaining one for personal use.
Great. So when I go into him, I'll give him one of the bags.
Okay.
We'll start with this.
Okay. He as soon as you kind of hand it out for him, he lurches forward and snatches it from you, and then tries to vigorously open it before eventually doing so, and just downs it in huge, thick gulps, and small bloody tears lace his chin and his neck.
I'm also gonna take notes. So I have a clipboard. I'm gonna like take notes. I'm also actually probably gonna record a lot of this too.
Yeah, he downs it, and he kind of like, smells like he has a little bit of trouble keeping it down initially. His face kind of twists a little bit, as if it wasn't very satisfactory, as if it, not necessarily as if it disgusted him, but as if it wasn't. It's like eating stale food. You can tell when it tastes just a bit wrong. It's that sort of face.
When I said to say we all have to make sacrifices for our survival.
Oh, that. Yeah. Do you have another?
Answer me a question first.
He just curses under his breath. Fine.
Who was it that? Do you remember anything about the person that made you like this?
I was struck from behind. I don't really know who.
Where were you?
I was just walking home. I literally. I'm just a sales assistant. He gives you the name of the store. At one of the Tesco Expresses. Like on the west side. I'd been switched to a different store for the evening. I was doing overtime, and around 12ish, my shift ended. So, I just decided to walk over to the tube station and head on home. But about 10, 15 minutes into the journey, I felt this cold, some sort of cold thud to the back of my head, and just out.
This was at the tube station or at the train? On the train?
No. I was heading to the tube station. I just cut across into a side street.
I'm gonna pull out a map and ask him to show me on the map where exactly he was.
Okay. He'll show you. 1 second. Yeah, he looks on the map and it's he kind of he puts it down. He kind of just points. It's on the border between the Kafin and the Ordo territories.
Is it that same area that we were in before? It's in that same area?
It's closer. It's not in it. It's near. It's right next to Richmond Park, which is just south. It's just east of Twickenham and just north of Kingston upon Thames.
Okay, so is it technically Ordo territory or
Richmond Park? I think. Let me double check. Let me check for you. That's Richmond. Richmond is Richmond Park itself is inside territory of the Carthians. The roads literally right next to it, just south, lie within your territories.
Interesting.
He
while he's kind of pointing things out, I'm gonna take a syringe. I'm gonna grab a syringe, assuming there are syringes around there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell him, I'm gonna take a sample of your blood. After.
So I was just going to give you a more specific. He was walking from. He was walking from Petersham down to Norbiton, which is where Kingston Hospital is.
Okay. And you didn't see them, you didn't hear them. Was there anyone? Did you notice anyone strange around while this was happening, or before this happened? Rather, maybe while you were working at the Tesco.
No, not at the Tesco itself. I mean, in hindsight, I can imagine a couple people, pale figures, walked on through. But, I mean, one of them's a regular, so I don't even know if they're just sickly or one of us. I had noticed over the past few weeks there have been a lot more. Well, he kind of motions to his face, like pale, sickly-looking customers. I was even chatting about it with a couple of my colleagues. Thought there was a virus going around. I mean, again, in hindsight, I remember there had been a pretty serious uptick in crime in the general area. Like a lot of assaults, a few murders. People getting pretty worried about it.
Is this near? Is this at all near the other worm nest, the one with the bug demon thing?
No. There is not a correlation there.
Okay, just checking.
At least in regards to I think 1 second. Where was the? I don't have my notes on the laptop, unfortunately. But no. I think that's a different area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that was near the Crone
That was
territory.
that was further. Yeah, I think that was further south.
Mm-hmm.
That was further out. That was in a. Yeah, it was not to the west side. I'm very confident of that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Gotcha.
no, there is. This is quite far away from there. This would appear to definitely be as kind of its own basket case, as it were.
Mm-hmm. Yep, fair. All right. So kind of as he's talking, I'm gonna get a syringe ready. And I'm going to take some of his blood. I'm gonna try to be as gentle as possible while I do it.
Oh my god, you just gave me blood. Now you want to take it away?
I'll give you more. Relax.
He kind of shivers a little bit and rubs his arms.
Mm-hmm.
It takes when you approach him with the needle, he tenses and it takes him a little bit. For a second, you think he's actually going to grab it, but you can tell he restrains himself just insofar as you're able to creep in with the syringe.
Mm-hmm. All right. Once I'm done, I'll give him another bag of the blood.
He takes it, gulps it down.
Mm-hmm.
Feels this time that same dissatisfied look, but for his motions, you can tell he's a little bit less on edge.
Mm-hmm.
You fed him about 2 pints.
Okay. All right. So, in the meantime, I'm going to take his blood. I'm going to put it somewhere where it will be preserved for the moment.
Preservation of kindred vitae is a bit tricky. It tends to lose its potency when it leaves the body.
All right. If that's the case, then I'm going to try to. Yeah, if that's the case, I'll try to run some tests on it now.
Yeah, you would still be able to run tests on it later, but yeah, if you wanted to, it's best to get it while it's hot, as it were.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll give him another bag of blood to kind of like take a minute, and then I'll put it on. I'll make some wet slides. I'll try to think what else I could do to look at it. Yeah, I'll put it on to some different slides so I can run some different tests on it.
Okay. Well, an interesting little facet of it is, despite the fact that it's red, obviously Damien is a corpse. The blood cells are dead. The blood is red, despite the fact that it's not really. There is a distinct lack of oxygen. In a sort of cute defiance of human anatomy. You do notice that you know that as a corpse, these blood cells are, quote, dead, but they are very, very animated. But they don't really move like regular cells. They move in a very erratic fashion. It's difficult to roll me intelligence medicine, and I can give you a proper overview, or intelligence science, whatever is your preference.
Sweet. With my specialty in biology, so that gives me an extra dice, right?
Yes.
Sweet. Yeah. So, and I mean, assumingly, I have looked at kindred blood. I have sampled.
You've looked at kindred blood before.
Yeah. Yes. So mostly all the tests I'm running are essentially comparing his blood to kindred blood, and then also kind of to human blood. I'm looking for so I'll also do things like I'll test different, just different. I don't even know what you would call it, content for different things like that might be in the blood. Different particulates and stuff like that. Fucking seriously?
Wow. You can spend a willpower. I'll let you spend a willpower attractively. I'll be nice.
Oh, thank you. Yes. So can I roll 3 more?
Yeah, I'll let you roll 3 more.
Thanks.
Just because that is really, really unlucky.
Like, for real, though. Oh, I got it.
You almost got
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. One
Okay,
success.
yeah. All you need is a success. Numbers don't really matter too much unless it's explicitly outlined beforehand or in a specific power or ability. So, the way these cells move seems to suggest a very disturbing sapience to the blood.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't move in a substantial fashion, but it appears it is almost as if the blood observes you in a sense, as if there is a little piece of the beast in the blood that is looking at you and staring at you, just a tiniest little fragment. But you know, without will vested into it, as one would invest will to create a ghoul, it probably couldn't affect you that much. It's a beast without a host. It's nothing. It's a shard of a broken thing.
When I look at kindred blood, does it look similar, or is this different than kindred blood?
Medically, it looks like kindred blood. Medically speaking, it looks similar. There are some odd movements that suggest this disturbing sapience to the blood that would suggest a link to the beast, or perhaps to the man, to humanitas of the one whose blood it belongs to. But you've never really had a chance to examine elder blood of the, mechanically speaking, blood of potency 5 or higher.
Okay.
That blood is extremely rare and difficult to get a hold of. But when sort of cross-referenced with more regular kindred viate, there is a sort of there is a sort of lifelessness to it that is difficult to define in scientific terms. It appears to look quite like as if it's barely alive, like it's
like lethargic, kind of.
Yes, it somehow manages to have this sort of erratic yet lethargic nature to it. It looks somewhat like deadened. Lethargic perhaps isn't the best word. Stiff maybe is a better word. Stiff and erratic. Do you know that revenant blood is generally not very strong? But you haven't really seen the blood sort of react in this way before. It is strange. In fact, the way it seems to react, it is as if you have cut off a larger aspect of this person than you would have from a regular kindred.
I want to try something. I'm going to take some of the animal blood that I had took. I'm going to open up one of the bags. I'm just going to take a drop out with a like a pipette, and I'm going to put a drop of the animal blood like right next to the revenant's blood and watch it under the microscope. I'm also recording all this with like a microscope.
Okay.
Does it seem like it reacts to the other blood that's there?
It sort of Yeah, as you notice that the vitae begins to depreciate pretty quickly. You know that vitae is different from blood. Vitae is sort of kindred have blood, but they also have vitae. Uh, it's like you think of vitae as the concentrate, and blood is the diluted result. Um, Vitae is the concentrate that is used to fuel kindred abilities.
Right.
Blood itself can't actually fuel these abilities. But the nature of the vitae seems to accelerate the depreciation and the death of the animal cells at a surprisingly rapid rate.
So it looks like it's breaking down the animal blood. So like, I'm not putting it directly in the vitae. I'm putting it next to it, like kind of next, like a drop of it next to it on the slide. Like, does it look like it moves towards it?
It does move towards it ever so slightly, but its presence seems to be inherently entropic.
So it's like, so it looks like it's actively consuming the blood.
Sort of. It doesn't necessarily consume more than it does just cause death. At least on this very minute level. You don't think you could put a bucket of vitae next to someone and they would die, but you know that you do know that
on that level.
Yeah, vitae stops things. It can create ghouls. It can create kindred. But it does so in a very entropic manner. Like it does, like it by making something undead, or
right. So it's not that
giving it power of death. So it's almost like you're witnessing like a ghouling in a sense, like on a cellular level. It's a very odd thing to watch.
Weird. So the process, it's not like it's being like metabolized. It looks like it's just destroying it.
Yeah, like I equate it to a ghouling, but it's really doing the opposite. Rather, it's causing a very subtle breakdown.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna do this a couple times just to see if it reacts the same every time, or if like even if there's an endpoint where eventually like it stops doing it or like reacts differently. Then what I'm eventually gonna do once I've done this, enough to kind of feel like I get enough data on this particular process, I'm going to cut my wrist just a little bit, and I'm going to take some of my blood. I'm going to put some of my blood next to a sample of his blood to see what it does.
Well, your blood is not affected at all, in fact. In fact, when your blood mixes, or do you mix it, or do you just place it next to it?
First. The same thing with like they did with the other one. So first, I'm going to put a drop of it just next to a drop of his blood.
Okay, your vitae appears completely unaffected.
Does my vitae move towards his? I'm just curious about that.
No, it just appears entirely non-reactionary.
Huh. Interesting.
It appears. Your blood does react to the animal blood in the sense that it accelerates this sort of decay. It's almost like watching metal rust at an accelerated rate.
So it'll do. So my blood will move towards the animal blood too, but it won't move towards his, and his won't move towards mine.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily move towards it per se. It's almost like your blood attempts to calcify in place, but similar to the revenant blood. But ultimately, due to exposure, it can't complete this process. It does lose part of its potency, but not all of it.
Interesting. All right. So once I've done this for a while, once I've done some experiments, I'm also gonna, I'm gonna test it. Just test the content of his blood too. And I'm also going to take some skin samples. Again, I'm going to essentially I want to do like a biopsy just to look at like different types of cells.
Okay. You know his skin cells? They they're as entirely regular human skin cells.
Is that normal for kindred? Like, if I look at the cells of other kindred, do they look normal as well?
It is, yes. When it comes to the outer parts of the kindred body, they more or less resemble a human perfectly. They do not last long when separated from the host, of course.
Right.
There appears to be some sort of connection there. That causes well, you actually have noted differences, like older kindred, when their body parts are separated, tend to dust or decay rapidly. Younger kindred, when their body parts are separated, tend to remain as they are. A corpse, but decaying at a more regular rate.
So when I take the skin sample, can I see it starting to decompose?
His does not decompose particularly quickly. It does decay pretty quickly, but it also stagnates pretty quickly. You believe you could actually use this sort of methodology to determine the rough age of a kindred. At least you could determine whether they are young or old or middle-aged, just because after a certain point, kindred remains will begin to ash. It's only effective up until a certain point. You wouldn't be able to tell the age of a kindred after a century or so, but it works as a rough mechanism when evidence will be scanned.
Okay.
The only issue is determining whether or not this is simply rotted flesh or the flesh of a kindred, but your kindred senses can help you with that.
Okay. Oh, can I tell at all from the blood what they call what clan he is, or what clan would have made him a revenant? Is that something I would be able to tell through some test?
If you took his blood and you tasted it, you would be able to discern very, very intimate information from the blood, but of course, due to your addiction, that is dangerous.
Fucking go big or go home.
Okay, so I want you to taste the blood. I will have you. You can taste the blood. I'll just check the roll you need to make. You roll your wits plus composure, and then I want you to roll your resolve plus composure.
Okay, is that two separate rolls?
Yes.
Okay.
You are. Do you have roll specs? I think you do.
I do not know.
Okay, yeah. Then there's no bonus or negative. It is fresh blood, so there is no penalty.
Yeah, I'm not going to feed from him directly. I'm just going to one of the samples I took. I'm just going to taste some of it.
Yeah, you're not taking enough blood from him to affect his viate, although it still makes him extremely nervous, and you know this. It is written all over his face. He doesn't hide it.
Yeah. Also, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna, kind of talk to him. I want to ask him just about, especially his sister. Like, I want to ask about his sister. Ask about like anything that's happened so far since and also how long it's been. What the Carthians did. I'm just trying to get some general information out of him.
Okay,
all right. So it's wits resolve, and then wits, and it was wits resolve was the first roll, and then wits composure. What was the two rolls I was supposed to do?
Wits plus composure first, then resolve plus composure to not succumb to your addiction.
Gotcha. All right, I'm gonna use a willpower on this because that'd be bad.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 5, 3, 8. 2 successes.
Okay. Not that much willpower you got left because obviously you're using quite a lot. And your mask and your dodge can recover it for you. Was that West Coast Composure or Resolve plus Composure? Sorry.
That was the first one.
That was the Wits. Okay.
Wits Composure, because that would have been, and then Resolve Composure is the second one, right?
Yeah, that's to not take a bite out of the guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not feeding from him directly. I'm just taking some of it that I already took out with the syringe.
That's true, but when you taste it, the beast will want more.
All right.
It is the beast.
Cool.
The beast.
4 successes.
Okay, almost an exceptional. Not quite though. When you taste the blood, you get 2 successes. You can discern basic details from the blood, including blood type, clan, the presence of any substance within the blood that remains within it, if it's been out of the body, any blood-borne diseases or poisons. Have you tasted it before? So it also tells. It can also tell you if there are any steps removed from sympathy to another character you tasted, but you have not. So this blood is, man, it's as thin as water. This blood is not very potent. It's barely potent enough to sustain anything. Your blood is thicker than this. You know this. You've tasted blood thicker than this.
Mm-hmm.
Your own blood is thicker than this.
Right.
It's barely anything more than human blood. It almost angers your beast that what should be kindred vitae is this impotent. But when you taste it, you determine that 1, he's in fact a revenant. 2, that his blood is very thin. That he's not of any sympathy, any blood ties to anyone who's tasted before. Not his clan, but you can sense the taste of how to put it, of energy. There's a certain energy to it. There is a sort of almost fizzy taste to it, almost like it's bursts out of your mouth. There's a sort of emotional strength to it. It's almost angry, but it's not. It's not anger. It almost feels like a different part of him, like it's an extension. It's almost like a fist. It's like the flavor just kind of punches you in the face. But there's also a sudden taste of fear, very real fear, but you're not sure where it comes from, whether it comes from him or something else within his blood. You can taste his fear, but you can also taste the fear of his beast.
I can't tell clan though.
No, but these hints are strong. There's that strong sort of punchy flavor that just it exudes a sort of barely restrained power. And
does it taste gangrel? Like that sounds gangrel.
No, this tastes more like Nosferatu. They're the ones with strength and fear as their chief powers. You can also taste something else. There is a sort of This is perhaps the one part of his blood that resembles a kindred. There is a certain life to it. The blood is thin, but there is a certain richness to it that can compare to full kindred blood. You reckon that richness may be representative of his ability to embrace? It's almost as if there is a degree of potency there, but it's not as strong as your blood. You imagine his blood may be just a hint stronger than another revenant's. If you were to taste another revenant's blood, you'd have to double check, but perhaps there is a degree of potency there that other revenants don't have.
Could I deduce that possibly the person that made him was a very powerful kindred, and that's why?
Yes, revenants are very inconsistent beings. They are often created by young kindred who do not understand what they are or are not careful. But it would not be an incorrect, or would not be an unfair hypothesis. It would be a fair one to suggest that a kindred or a revenant sired by a much more powerful kindred would be more likely to possess the power of the embrace, that they would carry that hint of potency with them as a sort of holdover from the power of their sire.
Interesting.
Being revenants, they will always be thin-blooded. But a more powerful kindred is more likely to pass on the effects of what a true kindred, or the powers of a true kindred. So to be more likely to possess clan disciplines, or disciplines exemplifying their clan. They may possess certain supernatural qualities inherent to their blood or lineage, and may possess the power to embrace. Now, this is all hypothesis. This would take some research, and it's probably going to require you to jump through some hoops. This is going to take some serious study, but it is definitely a hypothesis that holds weight. The more potent a kindred, the more likely they are to create a revenant if they make the mistake of not destroying the body when they exsanguinate someone. It does logically follow. Now, of course, who this elder might be, and how an elder could have possibly made this mistake, is very strange and almost absurd in London. The elders, while the neonates run the city, the Invictus, it is a city run by Invictus neonates, the elders still largely control their respective covenants. They hold more power. The Invictus is something of an exception, and even then, their elders, the Invictus are renowned for their elders controlling things, running things. They almost certainly have many large herds and connections to turn to should they need a quick meal, large domains to feed from.
Are there any known elders in the Carthian movement here? Specifically Nosferatu elders. Really, what Nosferatu elders would I know about in this area? Because, I'm also thinking that the fact that the Carthians were trying so hard to cover this all up and, protect these people kind of speaks a little bit to wanting to hide it because somewhere along the line they fucked up.
You have no Nosferatu elders in the movement. Elders tend to be less common in the Carthians than in other kindred covenants. They are surprisingly active within the Carthians. There's not necessarily a lack of them. There's actually a surprising amount. There's just not quite as many. But you've never heard of any Nosferatu elders in the movement. It's possible that there are elves within the Carthians keeping a low profile, but most of the elders within the movement take a very active role within the movement. From what appears to be the political scene within London, at least within the London Carthians. Again, it's possible. You need to check, and if anyone could hide within a movement, it would be a Nosferatu or a Maquette. They are naturally talented. But you haven't heard of one. There are Nosferatu within other sects, but of course they'd certainly not be within their territory.
Right.
You haven't heard of any elders within the of the Nosferatu within the Order Cool. Granted, again, they could be hiding within.
Right.
You do know of a Nosferatu elder, an independent, who runs a series of catacombs in around central London. They do not control the entirety of the sewer system, but they have taken up ownership of a large portion of it for the benefit of their clan specifically. They appear to hold clan over sect, family over party. If anyone knows, it might be them.
Interesting. All right.
Do you want to actually roll me intelligence politics to see if you can remember their name?
Sure.
They aren't talked about often, but they do attend court, and they do make the rounds every now and again. They are very much sort of outside your particulars here.
Did I put a point? I still haven't put a point in politics. I was going to do that. Damn it. All right. Okay. I'm just going to get one, but you know what? It's fine. I can ask somebody else later if I don't get it. Should really put that point into politics.
Yes. Politics is useful for knowing who's who.
Whoa, holy shit. I got
But you get 3 successes anyway, so.
What the fuck?
You have heard of a kindred, an old Nosferatu, who has existed for many centuries. He's been out of torpor a couple of times, from what you hear, suggesting he is quite old. Known as Fenson Rock.
Can you write that in my character channel? Because I will not remember that or even know how to spell that.
Second. He is known to occasionally attend Elysiums, and has on occasion been known to have correspondence with the Primogen and the Prince, but outside of court, he is almost never seen. He is, however, known to work through a very, very large, a veritable legion of proxies, many of whom are Nosferatu. Generally, he works, or one can be known to contact them through various drop-offs, which are subtly labelled with kindred iconography, suggesting that of the Nosferatu clan. Although finding these spots will be a very different matter. It's quite difficult. You could, of course, try and speak of a Nosferatu, but then you're going to be trading in favours.
I'm going to have to go talk to that stupid clown.
It is possible that your beloved friend within your coterie may have a better idea of who they are and where they go. In fact, you know for almost certain, given the reputation of this kindred, that they would probably be welcome within these catacombs. They were reputed to be a sort of safe haven for the clan in general.
Good to know. All right. So once I've done, taken a bunch of samples, done all. What's you done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna call. I can't remember her name. My boss, essentially.
Okay. That'll probably be fletching in this case, as the Kogan probably wouldn't respond to something as trivial as this. Oh, I say trivial. Something not as grandiose. I will just get up the overlay for you. Actually, no. You're going to phone your boss. You're going to phone fletching. But when the line picks up, you hear a very familiar voice. Child.
Who's that?
That is your sire.
I thought he was dead. What?
No, sorry. Your grandsire. Sorry, my bad. Your sire's dead. It's
I was
fuck.
gonna say. I thought my grandsire was also dead, though.
But they still know. Perhaps not. Wait a second. What is my own story here? I know one of your ancestors was alive. Goddammit.
Let's see. Cyrus Wolf. Yeah, because I thought there was a whole thing where like he was also killed under like mysterious circumstances.
Yeah, it was your great grandson. My bad.
Oh.
My bad. No, it was your great grandson. I completely got them wrong. It's no problem though.
Okay, so
It's
who's
still
this guy?
referred to as child. You're not sure whether it is out of respect or out of paternalistic arrogance.
Do I recognize the voice?
Yeah.
What's his name?
They're just called the wolf.
Oh, this is the wolf. Okay.
Yeah. Which is a bit of a stereotypical name for a gangrel, but they've held it for a very long time.
Hello?
I am currently in a discussion of importance with Mr. Fletching. Is there a matter you have to bring to me?
Well, I've got this revenant in the basement right now.
I have heard you have brought something of significant value to our covenant.
Yes, I was just kind of gained my composure because this was not what I was expecting. Yes, I was just checking in with a research report and to ask if there was any way in particular that you would like me to proceed in my research.
There is a short silence. You wish to examine the Revenant's vitae?
I have. I've examined his vitae. I've examined a few different cellular structure, content of the blood. I was able to trace some information about his sire, though not who they are. But I have some theories. But I was just curious of anything else in particular that you would like me to pursue.
There is, again, a brief sort of consideration. Continuing the current trajectory, we will soon meet to discuss more intimate matters of the blood. Once you are done, before you embrace him, transfer him over to my ward. I wish to examine him.
All right. Will you be doing this soon?
Yes. Work quickly.
I'd like to assist, or at least observe, if you don't mind.
Good, very good. Yes, your observations would be quite welcome. I believe Mr. Fletching will also be in attendance to further his own studies. We will be performing a very broad and intimate biopsy examining both the revenant's physiology, the strange logic behind their retention of vitae, and to examine how this interacts with their beast in particular.
I have done a bit of experimentation on that, but I will bring my notes and the recordings I've made, and we can compare.
Excellent. Is there anything else?
No, will you be coming here, or did you want me to bring him to your lab? You have a lab. It might be easier for you to come here unless you have equipment that we don't have access to at this particular point.
My laboratory exists on the 4th basement level. When you are done with your research in the coming nights, bring him there. We'll perform our examination.
All right.
Do you have sufficient samples?
Yes, as they do degrade rather quickly. I recorded everything that I'd done. I might take a few more just to see if I can, just to see what I can preserve. But I also have, I brought blood to sustain him for a few more days as well. Though I'd like to embrace it relatively quickly.
There is a more explicit means of preservation that can be used.
Really?
Should your work garner results, I may provide you with one in order to further your own studies on your particular mystery.
I'd appreciate that.
I am sure you would. Goodbye.
All right. Goodbye.
And the phone hangs up.
All right. Field trip.
Who's that? Field trip?
My boss? Grandsire? That was not who I was expecting to talk to, but we're going to take a little walk.
Oh no, he is your sire.
Is he my grandsire? Or is
your grandsire is Miriam Taylor. Your sire is the wolf, yes.
Okay, so that was my sire.
Yes.
But I thought he was
wasn't
dead.
right the first time, damn it.
So who's dead?
Your grandsire.
Okay, grandsire.
Your grandsire and your great-grandsire are both dead.
Gotcha. Sire's still around. And here for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Didn't he tell you they were in town?
Man. I didn't even clean up.
Do you want to roll me some some of that? You know what? I'll give you a +2 dice bonus because it's your sire, so you'll only get a -1 dice penalty to recall a few details about them.
All right, what do I roll for that?
Very little is known about them, but you may recall a few sparse details. Okay. It's just intelligent politics, I think, because it relates to the political and sort of storied history of the kindred.
Okay, so wit's +2?
Yeah, your wit's +2, but -3 because you lack a politics dot.
Right.
So -1.
-1,
really.
okay.
Intelligent.
Okay. Ooh, 2 successes.
Okay.
I'm really good at these politics rolls.
Yeah, you shouldn't be, but you are.
Yeah, it's weird.
Okay, you know that your sire is known for his very explicit and exceptional ruthlessness and efficiency. Um, he is considered something of an open prodigy within the order. You know that he has mastered many coils already, um, and has made this and has created several scales of his own. And some consider that he may actually be close to developing an entirely new coil. You don't know his real name. In fact, no order you've ever spoken to refers to him by his mortal name. They don't know it.
Weird.
You also hear rumor that he is quite old. In fact, his line is rumored to be quite old. That his line in particular embraces quite rarely. That your lineage is not particularly long, and that there are large gaps between each embrace, spanning at least a century or more.
I'm special.
You are special. In a sense, as a point of pride. In another, it's a point of sort of thought and somewhat slightly disturbing, the rumors that surround your sire. Just how dangerous they're rumored to be, yet have never seemed to express that.
All right. Well. Okay.
You wonder perhaps what could have given him such cause to come here. I mean, you've heard rumors of the deaths of your grandsire and your great-grandsire and that sort of thing. I mean, they're obviously very old, but they may have also, at least one of them was killed not too long after they came out of torpor, so while they would have been substantially weaker. But normally he remains outside of politics and warring and even into familial conflicts. He's a bit of a hermit.
All right. So that's interesting. So and this is in the same building where he wanted me to take him? Sounded like it was the same building.
Yes, he's given you a few nights to complete your research before, or to do some research, do some solo research before he intends to, from the sort of tone he used, claim this individual for an unspecified amount of time.
He's going to claim this individual?
He said he would be using them for a very extensive and broad biopsy and examination.
Oh, see, I thought I had interpreted that as like he was going to do it very quick. It was going to be extensive, but relatively quick.
He is known to be efficient. It could be quite quick, but he didn't specify a time frame, so it could be some time as well. It depends on his level of interest and how much this garners him. Part of you does perhaps fear a little bit for Damien, considering that your sorrow is not exactly known for his compassion.
Yeah.
You know that you estimate that perhaps what Damien is going to be put through will be less than pleasant.
He could also be knocked out for it.
Would he?
That's what I don't know. Well, this is also why I said I wanted to assist.
Kindred can't be knocked unconscious. They can be knocked into torpor, but that prevents certain examinations from being made. Roll me intelligence medicine. Roll me intelligence science if your biology is a bonus.
Yeah, it's all the same anyway.
Medicine
But
or biology? Sorry, medicine or science.
okay,
Tell me if you get a success.
1 success.
Okay. You could feed him Vitae. You could feed Demi and Vitae. That has basically been uh,
Like,
infused with anesthetic. That
mm-hmm.
may help. Although, depending on the sort of examination the sire wishes to make, particularly if it involves the beast, it may very much require Damien being in pain and provoked to frenzy. You know that under your quill, you underwent a similar process at least once.
Right.
In order to control your beast, you must often bring it to the surface.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I get all that. Let's see. Give me a second. Yeah. So yeah, I get all this. I'm still gonna take him. I want to. So I'm gonna explain kind of what's going to happen. And say
To what degree?
ultimately, the purpose of this is to make sure that this doesn't happen again, and to understand what it is that you became, why this happened. There's a lot of information that can be gathered. I will do my best.
That what do you mean? What's gonna happen to me exactly?
I don't know exactly. I'm going to do what I can to protect you and make it as quick and as painless as possible.
What do you mean by painless as pop? Do I need protect? Why do I need protecting?
It'll be over soon.
Fucking hell! I love the character. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean it'll be over soon? What am I going to die?
No, you won't die.
Okay, what the fuck does that statement mean? Why am I still as this? I thought I was going to be your child. I thought you were going to embrace me.
I will, and you will. But there's obligations that need to be made first, that I need to make.
What obligations? Like, you can embrace me at any time, right? That's how that works. Like, I don't want to be like this. Like for even a night longer. It's so painful. It's to wake up every night just frothing at the mouth, knowing that if you're not in a fucking safe room, you could murder someone. Knowing that I murdered my own sister because of this.
I know that, and that's why we want to find out what it is that makes you the way you are. Why this is. Get as much information as possible to prevent this. Find the person that did this to you and make sure it doesn't happen again. This is part of that process that needs to happen. Because when I do embrace you and when you do become my childer, we have a long time in this existence. And what we try to do is we try to improve that. Figure out how to be stronger, to suffer less. And there are sacrifices that need to be made. And I went through... I know you've been through a lot of pain, and...
I sacrificed my family.
And you'll be reunited with your sister again soon. Sister was the one, she's still alive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jenna is still alive. She's ironically Joshua's child.
Yeah, I know. You'll be with her again soon. I promise you that. And
how many more nights? How many more nights is this going to last?
I don't know. My hope is not many. My hope is tonight, but I have to speak. It'll be explained.
You can tell it's obvious just how frustrated he is.
I know.
It's strange. He looks so frustrated that he looks like he could fall into frenzy, but it's almost like he's so sad that he just can't find the energy to do it. Like that.
I know. Well, I'm from
It's
the
almost like
perspective.
a mild sense of betrayal on his face.
I know, I get it, but
No, you don't get it. You don't understand how hard it is to be this hungry all the fucking time. Every night.
that's what I'm trying to understand. The more we can understand that, the less likely it is to happen again, the stronger you will be.
All I want is for it to stop.
It will
You
stop.
can stop it. Please stop it.
I can't right now. Soon, I promise.
Okay.
If you want, I can put you to sleep for a while until we're ready.
When you say you can't, he shakes, but it's closer to a spasm. His fists just sort of clench into fists within the span of a blink, and he slams down on the desk with his fist so hard that it just snaps all the legs, and it just immediately falls to the ground. The samples just slide off the equipment. Most of them are ruined. You have your knives, but it's he is his predatory aura just swells with just horror and anger and anguish. It's barely being controlled, and he just looks so angry and upset and just broken. His eyes run a very thick bloodshot. He's on the verge of tears. He's fighting them back. His kind of whole face looks hollow. For the first time, he actually genuinely looks like a corpse.
What I can do for right now is I can put you to sleep, and I won't wake you up again until I know how long and how quickly this can be done, until I can assure that it will be as quick as possible. This last bit.
Just get me the fuck away from anyone I can hurt. He just sort of holds his hands. His face just sort of collapses into his hands and just starts. The head rocks back and forth, just trying to not. He just tries to not break down.
Okay. I'm assuming there's something around here I could use as like a stake.
I mean, he's created several stakes for you.
He's created?
When his fist
Oh, yeah.
collided with the desk, it caused it shot the table, and all of the legs just snapped off from the shock.
Mhm.
You ruined most of your samples and at least one piece of equipment.
Alright, while he's there, I'm gonna come up behind him, and I'm gonna try to stake him.
He's not going to stop you, so you easily do so. His body immediately falls limp to the floor. His face just kind of frozen in this very empty looking expression on his face. But there are several storage facilities for staked or incapacitated kindred.
Mhm.
They're sort of like they're sort of like large. They're like large freezers. They're down a couple. They're down actually. They're down the first level, which is the fifth level of this chapter house. There's a lot of levels both above and below. And all the way at the end, is at the end of the corridor. It's the basement levels are made up of black tiles. Blood doesn't really show particularly clearly on it. Made of stainless metal, doesn't rust particularly quickly. Made to be very durable. Very durable and also very long lasting.
Yep. Yeah, I'm actually like, she's just trying to think about this. So after she stakes him, she's gonna kind of like clean up and she's also gonna take some more samples while he's in torpor. Just try to replace him. Actually, I'll be right back. I gotta run to the bathroom real fast.
No problem.
Alright, give me like 2 minutes.
A brief pause as Isabella continues to take samples from the Revenant, from Damien, quite cruelly dehumanizes the Revenant, or a Revenant, who currently lies motionless on the floor. A very sad, empty, broken husk of what was once a person, now not even really a kindred, more of a half thing that needs changing, that needs fixing. Oh, are you back? Apparently not.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, you collect some new samples. You've collected enough that you're not sure whether or not it will have an impact on his hunger. Given the thinness of Revan and Vitae, it may very well.
Mm-hmm. Right. He had mentioned ways of preserving the blood. Do I have any idea what those would be?
You didn't ask him. You'd have to unstake him.
Fuck. No, not the.
Oh,
he said something about. Yeah, he had said something about how he had equipment that could be used to. That could be used. He said I could use. So is that something that I would have access to?
You've never heard of this before. You've heard of rumors of how kindred from both within and without the Ordo may preserve the full potency of Vitae. Exposure just seems to have an effect that lessens it. It doesn't remove it completely. If a kindred took the vitae of a long deceased elder, it would still sustain them as kindred vitae, but it's something about it tastes almost resembling cold, bagged blood, like it sits on the edge of the two. It's mainly, practically, it's more useful to the Ordo than anyone else. Sometimes blood is to be, vitae needs to be preserved to its full potency in order for certain experiments and research and studies to take place. It's less useful for kindred outside of that. For members of the Crone and the Sanctified, a kindred's vitae suits them just fine as some sort of sympathetic link, regardless of how long it's been out of their body.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it having mixed with other vitae would probably weaken that link and render it moot, but there's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so so she's gonna kind of like once she sort of so she's mostly taking samples and cleaning up and like kind of finishing up her research, sort of just to distract herself while she sort of thinks about all of this. So I'd originally written in the backstory that she had joined up with Joshua to get away from her sire.
Yes, you don't really possess the same, how to put it, sense of pragmatism that he possesses.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, for whatever reason, well, actually for reasons that have been quite clearly stated to you by another member of the Order, he's not here.
All right. So I'm gonna pass. So I'm gonna take all the samples. I'm gonna take some of the equipment, anything portable, assuming I have some equipment back. So I'm gonna pack up the samples that I have, so everything's kind of like in bags that I could easily transport.
Okay.
Fucking go big or go home. Okay. So, once everything's kind of cleaned up and I have the samples and I have everything packed away, I'm going to turn any cameras off that I had turned on. I'm gonna unstake him. And as soon as he wakes up, will he wake up right away after he's unstaked, or do I have to give him blood for that?
No, he'll wake up immediately.
So as he wakes up, I'll like kind of grab him by the shoulders and look at him directly. And I'll say to him, "You better be worth it." And I'm going to embrace him.
Oh shit, okay. Okay. You feed him in your blood. You invest a point of humanity into him.
Mm-hmm.
So you lose a dot of humanity.
Yep.
He takes the blood. He becomes... And when he does, you feel... a resonance. It's more like images flash through your mind. You see that you're walking down a road. You feel the blow to the back of your head. It feels almost metal, but it's not. It has the texture of a fist. As your vision blurs, you will see a face, which I'll show you now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn. I'll be so mad. Which is not on this computer, so I'm very angry.
No, no.
Oh no, I have it. Here it is. An extremely pale figure. Their skin is wretched. It is hollow. It is corpse-like. It's clammy. It clings to the bone.
Ugh.
The hair is a stark, dead white. Their whole body is a weird. It's strange. It's you only get the briefest look at them as you fall to the ground, but it's like the body has been it's like this. It's like the body has been chiseled out of stone. Like the. And yet at the same time it resembles a skeleton with an overlay of skin attached. It looks every bit a corpse but more, and the eyes glow a bright yellow.
Do I have any idea who this is? Have I ever seen this person before? I have any idea who he is?
No, but when you look at them for the briefest of days, you palpable terror, horror, wrongness. Like you can as if you're staring into at something that is just is wrong. That is not human. That is evil by definition.
Yikes!
Do you want to roll my intelligence occult? There is a very heavy penalty here. It's minus. Minus 5 dice.
Minus 5 dice. Yikes.
Minus 5 dice. What you are seeing is there is something that may clue you into something, but is very rare and almost unheard of. Almost.
All right, I'm gonna spend a willpower on that. So you said -5?
-5. It is knowledge that is, one might say, forbidden, unspoken of.
Wait, where's my? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong sheet. Oh, sorry. What? All right, so I'm going to spend a willpower, so I'm at 2.
Okay.
Yeah. One success. Whew.
Well, you know someone who knew somebody else. We're back in Philadelphia. Way back when you were a fledgling. Very young. Came said that person came panicking into court once when you were your sire. Spoke of one with yellow eyes. Spoke of it being an unkindred, a thing that is a kindred, but it's not. It is something, it is a parasite that lives inside of them. Like a cancer that works its way in and out of the court to devour every kindred inside. Like a sapient disease. You heard that the owls had come to Philadelphia, and within a week, every kindred who had ever spoken of that incident was dead. The sheriff had killed them all.
Okay.
Because they referenced one thing no kindred ever talk about, ever. Something that even elders do not openly discuss. That kindred, who knew that other kindred, who knew that other kindred, those kindred all died. They spoke of the Strix.
Ah, shit.
The demon things that hunt kindred. Some would say the real kindred. Such is the myth.
So wait, this thing is the Strix?
You think that is a Strix possessing a kindred body.
Fuck.
And it's making revenants. You also know, if you even utter the phrase, you could very well be executed by anyone in the city, for no one likes to speak of the Strix. No one. They're extremely superstitious. Invoking them is said to call them. To know of them, even silently, is said to put a clock on your life.
Well, cool. Fuck. We need to go right now. So after like I'm embrace him, and then I just get this look of like object terror on my face, and I just like we need to leave.
When you say that to him, you actually feel a certain sense that resonance remains. You feel quite close to this person now. You can kind of feel the blood inside of him. So you can kind of sense this beast very strongly, more strongly than other kindred. You can feel your ties to him, and you can sort of feel that. You can feel his own sort of his own flow of emotion. He seems to share your fear, but he doesn't seem to know why.
Mm-hmm.
Where the fuck are we going?
Home.
Home? Okay, yeah. All right. He actually does cough. He doesn't really know why. Okay, yeah, let's get out of here. And
all right, so I'm gonna grab up the bags of equipment. I'm gonna hand him some, if like just so we can carry him out of here. Going to hopefully not see anyone on the way out.
You head out of the building. Some people are confused, but pay no heed. Most of them are staff, mortals who are either aware of kindred but are bound to them in some form or rules.
Mm-hmm.
As you walk, your sense of urgency, it feels less like you and a bit more like your other self. It's weird. It's almost like the beast is simultaneously scared of what it's seen. It was laughing in your ear until it saw what you saw.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's not. For the first time in a while, you and your beast share a common cause, and it's not you having to pull the strings to do so.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So once we're kind of clear of this place, I'm going back to the circus because.
Excellent.
At this point, I'm fucked from all angles, and I want Joshua to help me because I might need Jesus right now.
The one thing that can bring Isabelle to Christ.
I am telling him that right now. So I messaged him as soon as I embraced him. I sent him a message. I said, "So things took a turn," and then after you said Strex, I just said "fuck," and he goes question mark, and I said I may need Jesus.
Oh.
So today I just fucked my sire over and learned that I'm have a fucking price on my head by everybody. That's cool. Great.
And
I know too much. And low-key panic. Cool.
Well,
I guess they made me give that van back. That's unfortunate. I guess I have to take a taxi or something.
Take a taxi, take your own vehicle if you possess one, but
I had that van, but I guess that belonged to somebody else.
Yes. But, it's weird. As we end this scene, as you perhaps run from the chapter house and head north into what you believe to be the relative safety of sanctified territory in your communal haven. You can almost hear a whisper from a distant shadow. Saying, he won't save you.
Fuck.
I think that is where we're going to end this scene. Thank you for playing. Thank you for just watching. And we'll see you all again on a lovely night in Vampire Requiem. A Requiem for London.